Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Let me introduce ourselves. We are from Group 4. My name is Natasha Aida as a first speaker, and I will explain about problems of equivalence. And the next is my friend Tasya Mutiara will explain about common mistakes in translation, and the last is my friends Muhammad Indra Syahputra as a as the last speaker, and he will explain about translation problems and solution. So happy watching. Okay, my name is Natasha Aida. I will explain about problems of equivalence. So translation equivalence is the similarity between a word or expression in one language and its translation in another. The similarity results from overlapping ranges of reference, so a translation equivalence is a corresponding word or expression in another language. Popovic distinguishes four types from the definition about translation equivalence. There are linguistic equivalence, paradigmatic equivalence, stylistic translational equivalence, and the last is textual pragmatic equivalence. For the example, in Italian, Giovanni sta menando il can per Leia, so it becomes John. It in English. It becomes John is letting his dog around the threshing floor. So the image conjured up by this sentence is somewhat startling, and unless the context referred quite specifically to such a location. So the sentence would seem obscure and virtually meaningless. The English idiom that most closely corresponds to the Italian is to beat about the bush. Also obscure unless used idiomatically, and hence the sentence correctly translated becomes John is beating about the bush.
Hello everyone, my name is Tasya Mutiara. Today I will explain to you about common mistake in translation. I hope you guys watching this video carefully to get the point. If you want to be a translator or want to translate of the text, you have to avoid this mistake, right? Okay, here they are. First mistake is the translator leaves out some of the text that appear in the search document, such as a paragraph, a sentence, a phrase, or an item in the text that doesn't require in the translation, such as the telephone number. All the content in the search document should appear in the translated document. Okay. The second mistake is the translator misinterpret the meaning of the text. The panel, the translation give the wrong message. For the example, no benefits will be provided anyway is translated as no benefits will be provided anyway. The third mistake is the translator incorrectly identifies abbreviation or misinterpret specific terminology. For the example, the translator write CIS. Maybe your organization mean customer information site, but the true meaning is citizenship and immigration service. The next mistake is the translator or the client includes the text or the example that are culturally inappropriate for attended audiences. For the next mistake is the translator is inconsistent to using or depending keyword or phrase. If you guys using inconsistent keyword, the reader will be confused, especially that is new things or new information for them. And the last mistake is the client accept change to the translation by offer by unqualified ad hoc reviewer.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Indra Syaputra, and today's video is going to be talking about translation problems and solutions. So in translation field, or there are many translators out there who will face a lot of problems, and I will tell you later on about the problems and the solutions. And so the first problem is about the title. In Indonesia, for example, there are books in English, an English book that translate into the Indonesia, and the title also translate. But there are also the certain books that originally from French, for example, translated into English, but the title still in French. For example, like one of the translator here, his Sandra Smith. His name is Sandra Smith, who translate book titled Sud Français, still in French. It is a book from French, and he translated to English, and he translated all of the book into English without translate the titles. At first, he might think that the American publish will not accept the book, but this book became one of the 100 bestseller book in the US and the UK at that time. So it's actually a dreadful, or as a translator we have to think more creative, about whether we want to use a title in English or still in the original language or what. The second is the stylish language. So every language here has their own style. For example, like between an old Indonesian and the ancient Indonesian language and Indonesian language nowadays, it's really different. I mean, the written language is different. For example, like the word dulu, D-U-L-U, and dulu in the long time ago, duelui, it's different. So the problem is that the translator have to translate an ancient book into the language, into the modern language without losing the beauty of the language and the characteristics of the language. But you know what the problem is that, for example, like this, no one's gonna read Shakespeare book. Shakespeare is one of the book that has written a long time ago. It's about the historical, I don't know, like ancients long time ago. So no one's gonna read it if Shakespeare's written or translated into modern language, into modern English, because it's gonna lose the beauty of the language itself. That's the problem. So there's a solutions for this, and it's actually solutions that is kind of hard, because if the author is still alive, you can ask the author, or if the author is still alive, you can ask them about the meaning or the better understanding about the words. But unfortunately, of course, because it is the old books, the author might be gone or passed away. So that's why the translator have to understand about artistic ability. So they have to use their artistic ability in order to recreate a new style. Okay, and the fourth is strong language. Okay, let's just say every human have every human ever doing a curse or say a word that is really strong and rude, right? And that's what makes a book interesting too. If there is a book that use strong words, it will make the readers more interested about the book. But we have to picky with a certain you know, a curse or a curse words that we use in a book or to translate it, because the problem is that, for example, like this swearing, swear, I swear to God, or I swear, swearing in another country or a certain countries, many countries in the world, is a cup of tea, or it's just like, okay, every day, and I swear because of things. But in English speaking country, it's less accepted, you know. And the five is colloquialism, or it is like everyday speech. So here's the thing: every translator has to sensitive with the colloquial differences. Okay, and for example, like the dialogue and the slangs that they use should be picky, and they have to immerse the language to the target language so they can use the slang or understand the slang, especially a teenage slang that exists in a country. So for example, like if you want to say, like I said before, a cup of tea, maybe it's kind of, you know, doesn't make sense. Like in Indonesian, segelas teh, like what? Wearing a black is my glass of tea. But if translate into Indonesia, memakai baju hitam adalah segelas teh. It doesn't make sense, right? But in English, it makes it like your habitual or something that you use and something that you like. So you gotta understand about the slang, idioms, something like that. So yeah. And the sixth is humor. So just like the slang and colloquialism, it's kind of hard to translate, or almost, it's failed to be translate, because a joke in one country or something that is really funny in one country is not that funny in another country. A joke in Indonesia, if you bring a joke in Indonesia into Spanish, into Spain, it won't be funny at all. And if you bring the joke in, for example, in Russian, and you bring it into English speaking country, it will be flat. So yeah, you gotta understand about the culture so you can make a joke with the language. And okay, and this last but not least is untranslatable words and culture specific references. Okay, so of course there are many words in Indonesia that has no meaning in English, and there is the words in English that has no meaning in Indonesia. Even if we compare between Indonesian dictionary and English dictionary, is so different, because Indonesian dictionary only like this, the thick is just like this, or even like this. But in English, Oxford dictionary, it should be like this with different chapter 1 like this, chapter 2, chapter 3. It's a lot of words, so we can't, that's a problem. We can't translate a peculiar word directly into another word. So the solutions here is you gotta leave it. I mean, if you can't translate it, Ross Scawards, one of the experts, said that you have to leave the word, just if you don't know the word, or just leave it. But another expert said it's dumb because you can't avoid or interrupting the flow of the text. It's gonna be a barrier. So there are also suggestions from some experts to provide the readers with a glossary.
Maybe that's all from our group. Sorry for the mistake. Thank you for your attention, guys. And don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share ya. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.